Hey guys, Engineer Wannabe here. Today we're going to be reviewing the Seiko SPB185J1. This is known as the Marine Master 200 Reduced or the Baby Marine Master 200, a couple of different names, but this specific watch is known as the SteelMaster, so because of its all steel bezel. So an interesting watch, a very distinctive look, and I was smitten by it when I did see it. But before we get started on the review, let me do a quick wristwatch check. I am wearing the Grand Seiko SBDC125. This is the 44GS GMT high beat, and it is a really nice piece. I've put it on a black crocodile strap, and really liking it the way it is right now. But yeah, there's a review on my channel if you're interested, but that's a whole other thing. But let's get down to the review of this guy. Okay, quickly let's rattle through the dimensions of this watch. It's a 42mm diameter watch. It's 13mm thick. It's 48mm lug to lug, and it has a lug width of 20mm. The weight of this watch is interesting. It's quite heavy. Unsized, it's 186 grams, but when you size it down to my 6¼ inch wrist, it comes down to 165 grams. So a significantly heavier watch than I'm used to, but regardless, the weight distribution is really nice and it does wear comfortably, so you don't really feel any fatigue over the course of the day. And it is a comfortable and interesting watch to wear. But let's get down to the star of the show. There are two stars. One would be the bezel, but the main star, of course, is this case. The main point of interest, to me at least, is the case. I believe the case is based on the vintage Seiko 6159. It's a beautiful case shape, and it's absolutely mesmerizing when you look at it. Look at the sharp polishing, the sharp angles, the points of separation between the brushed and the polished surfaces. Really impressive stuff, really amazing, and I am super pleased with it. It's hard to distinguish between this and something of higher end. Seiko's case finishing in this model is just amazing. So the interesting thing here is that this is a 42mm watch, so it will please a lot of wrist sizes. You may think that 42mm is big, but as things go with Seiko, a size is actually kind of smaller than what it is on paper. It doesn't feel like a 42mm watch. Like if you put this next to the Black Bay, Tudor Heritage Black Bay, the 41mm model, that watch far would engulf this watch, it would feel like, at least. This watch wears much closer to a 39 or 40mm watch, just generally speaking. But it is very comfortable on the wrist. It has a very nice case profile. It curves down and it follows your wrist. And I have a 6¼ inch wrist, and I'm really happy with it. But you know, go try it out. Your mileage may vary. So I am impressed with this case. It is by far my favorite thing about this watch. But then we come to the bezel. The bezel is another interesting point as well. It's a brushed steel bezel insert with printed numerals and hash marks. Overall, it looks really good. Unfortunately, mine is pretty poorly aligned, in the sense that if you look at the 12 o'clock marker, it does line up with the bezel mark. So the 12 o'clock index lines up with the bezel mark, but then when you look at the 30 mark on the bezel, it's almost a minute off. I've never had something this badly aligned, and it does drive me a bit nutty, but I'm okay with it for now, at least. I think that degraded or demoted this watch from being a possible keeper to probably gonna sell it on later, which is unfortunate, but maybe I'll find something that does line up. But again, that is a sad commentary of Seiko nowadays, is that there's always some quality issue. Let's move on to the dial. The dial is really nice. It's a black dial, but it presents itself like a charcoal dial, so it's really interesting. It's an interesting look. It has a texture to it, a very fine texture. So you won't see anything to your eye, but that results in it not reflecting light back onto the crystal. And so because of that, it's incredibly legible, including the hands, which have a polished section and a brushed section, and it looks really good. I really like the puffy lume. It gives the dial or the indices a bit of dimensionality, and of course the lume is really strong as well. It's a beautiful watch to look at night. Very strong, very useful if you need lume. Unfortunately, the date disc is not color matched to the dial. It's a white date disc. That doesn't bother me very much, but it might bother you. And you know, it kind of takes the place of the 9 o'clock index. So it's well balanced, but it would have been nice if the date disc was black with white numeral printing inside the date disc. The movement in this is the 6R35. So with this one, the 6R35 runs really well. The ones I've had in the past, it's just usually kind of erratic, kind of crazy. This one is running stable, is running well, and I have had no complaints, no issues. I think it's running at around -6, -7, which could be better, but I'm okay with that. I'm satisfied. The bracelet is really comfortable. Like I mentioned, the watch is quite heavy, and the bracelet does add a lot of that heft to the watch. It has pins and collars, but I'm starting to really warm up to the pins and sleeves, pins and collars. Probably because I've had so many Seikos come by my desk that I'm getting used to dealing with it, and I kind of enjoy not having to think about stripping a screw. But at this price, I think screws are would be nice, would be a requirement actually. This is not an inexpensive watch. Let's take a look at the bezel action, or take a listen. So very crisp bezel action. It's not the best. I think it could be a bit better. Sometimes it jumps in between the two clicks. If you go a bit slower, you'll notice that it's not as smooth. It has a mini click and a big click. It's not as refined as it could be, especially at this price again. But it will suffice. So yeah, I think I'll keep this one a bit short. It's a lot like the Seiko divers that have come our way this past year, and I'm really impressed with this piece despite its issues that I've mentioned through this video. Of course, at this price point, again, you know, we're getting into that topic again about whether, you know, we should be having these issues, but that is the sad state of Seiko affairs right now, like I mentioned already. And you know, I'm at least at the moment, I'm willing to put up with that because of the amazing case finishing, the really comfortable wear. It's well balanced. The bracelet balances the watch head really well, and it's, you know, it's thin. It wears a bit better than the Marine Master 300, even a lot better than the Marine Master 300. I can actually pull this one off, while the Marine Master 300 I just can't. And so all these things add up to a watch that I'm willing to keep, at least for now, while Seiko gets their act together, and then maybe, you know, sell it on or get it fixed or whatever. But yeah, that's been a quick review of the Seiko SPB185J1, also known as the SteelMaster. If you really like the 6159 case shape, there's really not much else where you can go. Or if your wrist is small, this is kind of the only option that you have. And it's such a beautiful watch that, you know, again, it's another case where you're kind of willing to put up with it. But let me know what you think. Are you guys okay with all this? It's almost a silly question to ask. I know a lot of you aren't okay with all this. But yeah, let me know what you think. I'll be happy to chat with you guys in the comments. And yeah, until then, take care. Remember, time is short, and you are worth it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.